And we're live. Hi, I'm Kristian Serrano with the Savage Bloggers Network. This is our Hangout on Air. So, unfortunately, Ron Blessing isn't going to be able to make it tonight. He was really looking forward to this. He ended up with a sore throat from yelling for the Broncos during the Super Bowl. But we have with us tonight Karl Keesler from
Hey.
Savage Worlds community, both on you're on Facebook as well, right?
No, just Google
Just
Plus.
Google Plus.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, just Google
Okay.
Plus.
Yay,
Yeah,
Google Plus. So,
yeah,
yeah, we have Karl Keesler with us. I'm really
yeah.
excited about this, and I'll be honest. This has been the most anticipated Hanging on Air that we've had. It's the highest response we've gotten as far as people who are planning to watch.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so you're like a rock star,
Hey, I hope I don't
Karl.
disappoint.
I don't think you
Yeah.
will. I don't think you will.
All right.
Um, so Karl, I kind of want to get into some of your background. You do some
Okay.
amazing work. You've got some amazing
Thanks.
skills.
Appreciate it.
You obviously have professional graphic design
Yeah.
chops. And
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about, where that came from and at what point you sort of married. Well, I guess let's start with your graphic design history.
Okay. Well, I went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. I graduated '96, so I've been doing graphic design since then. I work at a local ad agency. I do mainly automotive ads, so with bright colors and things like that. Really big headlines and things like that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for almost since I graduated.
Wow.
College. So, but before that, drawing and things like that always interested me, and gaming, of course. But I melded the two way back then when I would draw characters and things like that. And
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
yeah,
When
yeah.
did you put those two things together?
Oh, way early.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. Drawing
Nice.
characters and maps and just anything I could back then. Pre-computers.
Right, right.
So
Excellent. So when did you get into Savage Worlds?
I got into Savage Worlds in the small little Explorers edition.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, I don't
Was that
remember what.
2008 maybe?
Probably, yeah. I would say around then.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But I had always liked Deadlands, the original old school Deadlands.
Classic, yeah.
I have like all the books. They're on my shelf right now. I I collected the books. I only played a few times, to be honest with you. I could never find the group that would want to play, but I have all the books and I've read them all, and I'm like, oh, this is so super cool. And then Savage Worlds started coming out. I'm like, oh, I gotta check this out. So
Neat, neat.
yeah.
So what drew you specifically to Savage Worlds that you started playing it regularly and so on?
I think it was because I got it. It clicked to me, and it was so easy to learn and so easy to run. And I come from D&D, way back,
Right.
first edition, second edition, third edition, all that stuff, and it could get really, you could bog down,
Oh yeah.
making monsters and things, traps, and God, you spend hours just doing stuff with that. And Savage Worlds came out, I'm like, wow, this is pretty simple,
Yeah. No, I remember that. It
Yeah,
was I came from third edition D&D and
yeah, yeah,
the amount of time I would spend just preparing for a game and heaven forbid your players
yeah,
decide to do something else because then you were just like I just spent hours. I hate
yeah,
you all right
yeah,
now. Like I have no way
yeah,
to quickly stat this out or
exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
And Savage Worlds was like it also hit right when or it hit me I should say. I came across it
Hmm.
right when right before my daughter was born,
Oh,
my
okay,
first child,
okay.
and I was running out of like I just didn't have spare time anymore,
Right, right.
and so I actually played in a game online. I had just gotten my Explorers Edition
Yeah.
copy that same night in the mail, and as I was playing that game, my
Mhm.
wife, she ends up going into labor.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, and then 3 months later, I put the book down. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen for a while. And 3 months later, I picked it back up. Like, all right, maybe I'll
Yeah.
do something with this. And
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
It's been fun playing around with it. So
That's super cool. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So speaking of
Yeah.
playing around with it, you
Hmm.
you you do some of the most amazing. This is the reason why everybody's watching, right?
Yeah.
You do some of the most amazing custom props.
uh,
You do amazing character sheet designs.
yeah. Thanks.
Even the setting concepts you come up with, like Ghostbusters meets what was it? It was
Goonies.
Goonies. Goonies meets
Yeah,
Ghostbusters, right? I
yeah.
mean,
That's this year.
the Mystery Men blister packs,
Yeah,
with the blister peeled off, and
yeah,
bowling action grip,
yeah,
Star Wars and the Kenner font.
yeah.
How did you decide to get into doing those kinds of props? The Necronomicon, the box
Right.
from Hellraiser, the puzzle
Um,
box.
well, I started like really customizing character sheets first. I never really liked how this just the plain sheet looked. The like even in D&D, I never really liked how it just was just white,
Mhm.
with black text.
Bunch
So
of lines, yeah.
exactly. It just never really. I'm a visual person, going to art school and all that, being an artist my whole life. I never really dug that. So I
Mhm.
always just try to spruce up character sheets, and it started like in almost like D20 Modern when I was starting using computers more, and um, I did like a Western sheet at one point, and it went from there. It just steamrolled onto whatever genre my game master was running. I'd make up a sheet, or if I was running it, I'm like, and that's how I would psych myself up too. I'd get really into a setting, and I would make a sheet for it, like Ghostbusters.
Right.
I ran Ghostbusters a few years back, and I'm wearing the shirt right now, but I was so into it, and I was like, oh, first thing I'm gonna do, I gotta make a sheet. I gotta make a sheet with slime all over it and make it look like it's like caution bars on it and metal backgrounds and stuff like that. It just one thing led to another. And I just kept doing it.
Yeah,
Just
that's awesome. I mean,
yeah.
we did we did an episode of Simply Savage where we talked
Hmm.
about setting the mood
Yes.
and how you can, bring elements of the setting to the table and bring
Right.
it to the room in which you're playing in. And
Right.
when we did that, the only thing I had in the back of my mind the entire time was Karl Keesler. And
Thanks.
you've become a master at that.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
the stuff you do. I mean, I can imagine playing in one of those games. You do a lot of convention games as well,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I can imagine sitting there and immediately I am just in that setting. Like that's where
Yeah.
my mind is, and so you
Yeah.
just spoke to that where that was your intent. You wanted to pour
Right.
yourself into it, and I'm
Right.
assuming your other players sort of
Yeah.
had that same experience when they interacted with your props and whatnot.
Yeah, they seem like it. Like I can remember the Ghostbuster games to be example.
Hmm.
Like one of the first games, I took a lot from the video games, the stories from the Ghostbusters video games. The story was one of the first games. There was a traveling Gozer exhibit, so the characters had to go to the museum, and they were the local franchise Ghostbusters, so they were going to be there. And I told them, I said, okay, they're giving out champagne, but the champagne is colored green for slime,
Right.
and they're giving out hors d'oeuvres of s'mores. And so I actually went to Party City and bought some plastic champagne cups, and I brought Mountain Dew, chilled it. I said, okay, this is what they're serving. I handed everybody
Oh,
Mountain
that's
Dew
amazing.
in champagne cups, and I actually made s'mores up with toothpicks in them.
Right.
And I handed those out. These are the hors d'oeuvres. And one of the players was he had the hindrance of obese, and so his character was always eating and stuff like that. So he played it up. He grabbed the champagne glass and he had his pinky out, and he's role playing as he's eating the s'mores and
Right.
drinking this Mountain Dew champagne stuff. It was great. I mean, everybody got into it. Everybody was grabbing the champagne and acting like they were, someone was
In
acting.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just like one example of like, something I like to do to, bring it all together.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So other than just the props, I mean, obviously the
Yeah.
props are just I'm
Thanks.
just gonna gush over this the entire interview, by the way. But you've also come up with some amazing Savage Worlds setting ideas.
Oh.
We mentioned Goonies meets Ghostbusters just
Right.
on that,
Right. Right.
but the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you've done an
Oh.
'80s edition.
Right.
Then you went
Yeah.
back and did a '70s edition. Tell us about
Right.
that initially.
That initially started. I had an idea for the '80s from Top Shelf Comics. Put out a cover way back in the. It wasn't that long ago, but
Hmm.
years ago for an April Fool's joke. They put out a fake cover, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen 1980s, and it had like they actually had somebody draw this out. It was Jack Burton, B.A., Baracus, I think Doc Brown, Lisa from Weird Science, and MacGyver. They were all on the cover. And behind them was portraits of like from the 70s, like the Bandit, Serpico. And I saw this and I was like, man, that would be an awesome game. That would be really cool if I, a con game, if, you just build up these characters in Savage Worlds and run it. And
Right.
I never got the chance to do it. But then I heard a podcast, I forget the name of the podcast, but they ran some actual plays where they took the feng shui system and they kind of played off that idea too. I'm like, hey, this would be easy to do in Savage Worlds. So one year I just like started building characters, and I actually started with the 2000s. I did the 2000s.
Wow.
So it was like a zombie themed game. I like to theme my games somewhat. So this was the 2000s I started, and it was like Tallahassee from Zombieland. It was Cherry Darling from Planet Terror. She had with the machine gun leg, and
awesome.
Characters like that, and they all fought zombies basically, and it started steamrolling from there. Then the next year was vampires. I went backwards. It was the 90s was the next year, so it was like the vampire theme. So Buffy was a character. I think Jack Crow from John Carpenter's Vampires were the character.
Nice. Very nice.
And then the 80s, and then the 70s. So, but I think I put it to rest for now. So.
Right. So how did you pick those specific characters when you were running that, like particularly the 80s and the 70s, because the 80s and 70s have there's a lot of characters to choose from.
The 80s was tough. The 80s, like I said, it was themed. Well, the first, the 2000s was zombies.
Right.
Then it went to vampires, which was kind of easy because there was a lot of movies in there in that genre. The 80s was tough. I'm like, well, there's so many. I actually wrote a list out of all these characters that could be. I mean, it was like everybody that was, because I'm a kid of the 80s, and I was like, oh my God, how do I pick this? So I came up with a theme of time travel. I'm like, okay, well, we could do this. We can make a time travel type thing. So Doc Brown is immediately in there. I put Ellen in there because there's a little time. She showed up because time travel.
Awesome.
I think I'm forgetting who. So it was time travel, and I had a little bit of martial arts in there. So Jack Burton was a character.
Burton, right.
Yeah. So I just played off on characters like that, and I picked specific characters to fill specific roles. Like B.A. was the strong, tough guy. Okay, right. He's done. The strong guy's done. Jack Burton's kind of the lucky bastard going run around. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Everyman type guy. Yeah. Right. So he's done. Doc Brown was a scientist, so he's done. So scientist filled, needed some women in there. So Ellen Ripley, she's a tough badass, put her in there, and she was done, so that's how I kind of build these games up. I try to fill up roles that would normally see in like a movie or a story like that,
Right.
So yeah.
So
a lot of fun.
So for the 80s, you did the cards, if I recall correctly, and then for the 70s, you stepped it up.
Oh yeah.
Where those 8-track things were
awesome. That's the character sheet.
At what point did you say, I know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 8-track cassettes with covers?
Well, I was actually making I had a Photoshop picture of an 8-track, and I was making a character sheet 8.5 by 11. I was building one in Photoshop. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool looking. I can have stats on and everything. It looked like 8-track. But then I thought, I'm like, well, I could kind of shrink that down and make it look like, an 8-track and put the stats on the back like I did. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
But, and I did. I shrunk it down and I printed out double-sided, and I showed my buddy at work, and we're actually, this is after hours, just so you know.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to tell your boss.
I doubt they're watching, but I don't think any of them gamers, but it was after hours, and we brainstormed, and I was showing him, he goes, oh man, there's a cool, he goes, that's about the size of an 8-track. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the idea. And I got the spine there too. And he said, you could probably get some cheap 8-tracks somewhere. I'm like, well, let's check Craigslist. So we were looking at Craigslist, and I'm like, I could make a label And so I didn't find it on Craigslist that I wanted because I wanted like certain colors. So this I made all the characters red.
70s, like the bicentennial.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I bought some, and I kind of deconstructed it, basically ripping the label off, and which is like this one. I just kind of ripped the label off. They come off super easy, obviously, because they're so old.
They're so old, yeah. Probably all dried out.
Exactly. And so I sized the label up, and I basically matched up a font and gave it like a weathered look. And I'm like, wow, these are like really high level characters or high rank characters, I guess, for Savage Worlds. Mm-hmm. And I could simplify it and just put everything on there like a list. So that's where that idea came from. It was like a brainstorm idea with a coworker of mine. And he doesn't even game. He just thought, the stuff I make is cool too. And he likes getting into it too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So what are some of your favorite props that you have?
Well, the 8-tracks definitely are I think really cool. I really love those. Mm-hmm. I come from Florida. I live in Florida, so to fly up to Indy was kind of a pain bringing all this stuff on the plane, but it was still fun to bring these up there. Let's see what else I made. Oh, I made for my Ghostbusters game. I made a Tobin Spirit Guide. I just made a front. And what these are, you can buy them at like Michael's, and they're just like put all of my junk in there. They're just little boxes.
Yeah, so false book things. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I got all my stuff in there. Really easy transport.
Penny box kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I made the Necronomicon because I included that in the Ghostbusters game. It was flying around. It was their version of Slimer.
Can you hold that up? I didn't realize how big that was.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah.
What's funny, the way this came about was I added the Necronomicon to the game, and it had a face on it, so I started making kind of Slimer type noise, voices. I was, role playing it up, and it was a comical type game, so they were having a good time with it, and they kept asking, "How big is it? How big is it? How big is it?" And I would tell them, "Well, it's about yay big." And the next session, how big is this book again? So I'm like, all right, I got to find out a way on how to make this. So I went online. Again, online you can find lots of things.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw somebody make one of these with all this is masking tape under here. It's rolled masking tape.
Really?
And duct tape. Sorry, rolled duct tape. And I took some like PVA glue and some paper towels and wet it down and just kind of made like a rough skin on it and just painted it. But you got to make
some kids' teeth.
Yeah, that's right there. So I brought this to the game. I'm like, that's how big the Necronomicon is.
Where
that's
did
how
you
big
get the teeth actually?
That is just like putty, and I just formed them and just put them in there and just painted them. It's just paint. So
I often, if I ever do a horror game, like a supernatural horror game, I often wanted to get like little fake teeth. For bennies.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, that was fun to make, and again, that was like someone making a prop for like a Halloween costume, so I'm like, this is gameable, There's so much stuff out there that people that's gameable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
For my 70s game, these are the bennies. I'll bring out the bennies I used.
Sure, yeah.
The 70s theme game was a Southern trucker type game. So it was
Bandit.
Exactly. The Bandit was a character. The Daisy Duke.
Daisy Duke, right.
Evil Knievel, Elvis.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about Evil Knievel. Yeah.
So I found these online. They're Pabst Blue Ribbon bottle caps, beer caps. But if you look on the inside, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. They have the little like poker suits and values. Yeah.
Right. So when I bought them, I'm like, wow, I can use something out because Savage Worlds uses cards. What I was letting players do for just this session is if they didn't like their initiative card, they could spend the Benny if they had like a higher card. Yeah. Exactly. If they had a queen, they wanted to go on a queen, spend the Benny, put it on top of it. But the one caveat was it couldn't actually trump the queen of spades. If someone actually had the queen of spades out, they would go first. But you would go right next to them. So it worked out really good because people were playing them and throwing them down and stuff. And
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
I've often thought of the idea of I haven't done it in my game yet, but we allow spending a Benny to re-roll,
Oh,
and I
okay.
often wonder why
Yeah.
don't we allow spending a Benny to draw another card for initiative?
Yeah. True.
Why not,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And so it's something I'm going to play around with a little bit. But
Yeah.
it's kind of what you did with that, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I mean
Pretty
it's not
much.
another draw, but it's like I want to replace this value
Right.
with this one,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well. Trying to figure out what else I got over here. Oh, this
So
was for a pulp game. It was a box
that's
I
awesome.
made with I made a little template for a Nazi symbol, and it was for Ubiquity System Hollow Earth Expedition.
Oh, nice.
It was.
So it's like a little cargo crate kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a little cargo crate, and I said, okay, you find this, and I had hay in it, stuff you buy at the craft store, and I made these like artifact things in there.
Awesome.
I think I put if I remember right, I put one of them in there, and they had to find the rest of them throughout the campaign.
That's cool.
So
you actually gave them each fragment
right as they went. Yeah.
Nice.
And they kind of fit together. So I actually saw this online. Somebody made something like this online too. I'm like, oh, I can do that. It's pretty cool. It's easy. So it's a nice little token,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So how many convention games have you run?
Oh my gosh. It's hard to tell.
Many.
Yeah, many.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see. I do multiple sessions, so I just don't run it one time because there's so many people that want to play and stuff, and I enjoy running it over and over again because it's different. Every group is a little different, even though it's kind of like a canned scenario. They always take the characters in their own way.
Yeah. Every player does.
The
players are going to do something different with each time, which is kind of it's what makes it really fun. You get to explore how different people approach problem solving.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I try to run around 5 to 7 games for Gen Con. So, and sometimes I run off the book games, with some friends, like on a Wednesday night when I first get there, and it's kind of not open.
Right.
So, yeah. So this year I think I'm going to be running like around 7 games, 6, 7 games, something like that. So
that's fantastic. Cool.
Yeah.
So on a related note, then, this is actually a question from one of our Patreon patrons, Frank Turfler.
Okay.
And
he's
fantastic
awesome.
Maps, great props as well.
That great stuff.
Savage Dungeons cover he did was amazing.
Yeah.
So the question he had is actually 2 parts.
Okay.
The first part is, where the heck do you find the time? I embellished that with the heck because honestly, where do you find the time?
Yeah.
And the second part, and this is probably something Ron's interested in as well, is when are you coming to Arizona?
Oh.
so we'll go ahead and start with the first one.
Okay, where do I find the time? Well, sometimes that's tough. I am married, but I don't have any kids, so there's the problem there. Right there.
50% of your free time. Right there.
Exactly. Yeah. I have an amazing wife who lets me. I have a whole back room back here where it's like on my studio back here. Off to the left, I got all kinds of miniatures and paints, and she's amazing. She lets me do what I do, and
the Streets of Bedlam, the Streets of Bedlam minis. By the
way.
Yeah, that was black and white. I mean, again, setting the mood, right?
I'm still working on them.
Are you? Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm still working on some.
Yeah, that was awesome. Black and white minis. I don't think I've ever seen that before, ever.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Thanks.
That was brilliant.
I thought it matches the setting and the tone that they're trying to portray with Sin City. The Sin City look for that.
So Arizona does have gaming conventions. From what
I'd like to go out there. That's
I
haven't been out there since I was a baby. I mean,
right? Yeah.
My parents took me out there as a baby. So.
Yeah, no, I think Rincon is one of the big ones they have.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
So Shane Hensley's out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of savages out there.
A lot of savages out there. It's pretty big. So
yeah,
I need to go out there sometime myself.
I'd like to hit a con out there in Colorado or something like that. That'd be awesome.
Have you been to Mace?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, I haven't been either, and I keep telling Jody I'm going to go every year, and I don't go.
Yeah.
I think next year is going to be the year though. So if you're interested, you should go. We'll go hang out. We'll play some.
Think about it. Okay.
I'll get to drool all over your cool props. I promise not to make a mess drooling over them. But it's got a really good Savage Worlds presence there. So.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
I think Clint and Jody go, and a whole bunch of people go.
Charles
White from Fabled Environments. So
Oh yeah,
a lot of people go
nice,
there.
very cool.
So yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what other stuff I have back here. Oh, this is pretty cool. Again, Ghostbusters. This was a toy. It was a toy shark.
The Ghost Shark.
Yeah, the Ghost Shark.
That's right.
Actually, I came up with the idea from the movie Ghost Shark. I'm like, well, that would be cool, Ghostbuster thing. So,
Right.
so I had
too big for a trap, right?
yeah, exactly. So I made a miniature out of a toy that I got at Toys R Us for on cheap, and just
Nice.
made a base up for it. Just painted them up. So that was fun
really
to do.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Karl.
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody paying you? Why are you doing this for free?
I like doing it in my free time. I mean, it's just
that's fair. That's fair.
It's a little bit downtime from work, because work can be stressful with the short deadlines and of the ads and stuff we have to do, and it's just frees my mind. It's just my way to relax. Yeah.
I'm kind of like that with like web design. Like every now and then I just get bogged on with development and content strategy and all these kinds of things at work, and then I come home and I'm like, I just want to make a little app or something, like some little simple loot generator. Okay, here we go.
Exactly.
Something fun.
It's funny. I have a buddy, and I'm in 2 gaming groups, and one of the other gaming groups, he's like, you don't have to make all this stuff, and you can just come game. I'm like, I enjoy doing this stuff, man. It's my hobby.
It's like an outlet. Yeah.
Exactly.
Creative outlet.
It's not like I feel pressured and I have to do it, because there's plenty of times I come to the table. ETU, for example. I'm running that with 2 groups right now, and 2 different groups, and I make stuff. I make maps. I have minis, all that stuff. And there's plenty of times where they go off. I'm planning for A, B, and C, and they go off on F. And they're like way off. I have no idea what they're gonna do, and I don't have I don't have a map or mini for that. So we just freeform it, which I'm fine with that too. So, but. Here's some ETU stuff I came up with. Well, the ETU people did it.
Is that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man behind you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It is.
Is it burnt?
Yeah. See, this was also in the Ghostbuster game. This was the original one.
Right.
Okay, he's a little short guy. And then I took one, and in the game they were trying to there's black slime everywhere in the city. It was corrupting people and things like that. I got the idea from the comic book Infestation, Ghostbusters Infestation.
All right.
So I took one and I kind of tore them apart and made them all like kind of oozy and like black slime gone on them, and it kind of zombified them and stuff.
That is amazing.
Again, I got an idea. Some guy did something like this online on the Ghostbusters forum. I'm like, wow, that'd be cool for a mini for Ghostbusters. So that was fun to make, and I popped that down. I'm like, whoa, he's messed up. What's wrong with that guy? So
that's awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Very cool. And Mystery Men, by the way.
Oh yeah,
those were fantastic, and even the detailing, like the was it the bowling action grip?
Oh yeah, these are the character sheets right here.
That was so. How do you produce things like that with that card stock?
This is any card stock you can buy at like Office Depot. It's just 110-pound stock.
Okay.
All the office stores sell them, and you just gotta kind of do. How I do it is, I made the design up. It's both sides, so I make the design up and I print one side. Right. And then, because printers at home aren't exact, okay, like a printing company, so then I flip it over and I print the other side, and I hold it up to the light to see how it lines up, and if I got to bump it over left or right or something like that, the artwork to center it.
All right.
And then I do a couple like that to make sure I got it. Then I run the whole run, and then I cut them up.
Oh, nice.
Very, very simple. So
very nice. Yeah, that looks fantastic.
Goes back to my Kenner Star Wars days right here with the with the proof of purchase.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. The PowerPoints. PowerPoints and Benny's. Yeah. So and on the front it has like that, where it looks like the blister pack was torn off. Is that?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. It was so good. I couldn't
Yeah.
tell if you actually tore something off of it, like glued it on and then tore it off, or if it
Oh
was
yeah.
just something you did in Photoshop. And
Yeah, that was Photoshop too. But it was
nice,
actually a photo of a blister pack, but it
right?
was much wider, and I cut out the middle basically and merged the two sides together and made it smaller, like a little figure would, you
Very
know.
nice,
So
very nice.
yeah, it's fun to
So
do.
impressive.
Thanks.
So we got a question
Yeah.
from Eric Lamoureux.
Okay.
And the question is, Carl, is there a project you'd like to take on, something you can visualize, but it is beyond your amazing skills?
Oh my gosh. Something I can visualize that's beyond my skills.
Like, I would love to
uh
do that, but it's impossible. I don't think that's possible. But
um See, that's the thing. I kind of stick to what I know I could do. That's
mhm.
that's my little cheat right there. Um like these character sheets I just showed you. I'm like, I could do something because I seen somebody do similar type character sheets like that
Right,
online, and they're making comic book covers like that. I'm like, wow, that'd be a cool character sheet. So that's kind of how my brain thinks. I'm like, I could do that, and I, I produce it, I bang it out and see what it's like. But no, there's nothing really strikes my mind right now that I could think of for that question. Sorry, Eric. Uh, no.
so, out of curiosity, if a
Yeah,
publisher did
yeah,
approach you, if someone's,
yeah,
let's say Pinnacle or whoever,
yeah.
said, "Carl, I like your work. I want a really awesome character sheet, or I want, some really nice custom Benny design,
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever it might be,"
Hmm.
would you do it?
Sure, I do it. Yeah, I've done freelance before many times.
Nice.
I've done free stuff too for friends and things like that, which I enjoy doing it. But yeah, I've definitely done stuff like that before. I As we were talking earlier, that I'm one part of Doghouse Rules, which we aren't kind of producing anything now. We're a company that did a lot of D20 modern stuff,
Right.
and I did the main book. I did all the PDFs, everything for them. So yeah, I've done layout and stuff like that before. But yeah, I'd definitely be interested in doing stuff like that. So
Very cool. Like, and not just
yeah.
layout, but like whether it
Oh
was
yeah.
character sheet design or
Oh yeah.
anything to that
Exactly.
effect. Right.
Exactly. That's how I met the Doghouse Rules guys. It was before they were called Doghouse Rules. I totally forget what the company was called, but they came out. They had it was before D20 Modern.
Right.
They had a Western game called Sidewinder, and it was off the third edition rules. And um, we were a fan of it, our home game, and I made a character sheet. That's how I started with them. I made a character sheet and I put it on the Yahoo groups. I'm like, hey guys, check this out. This is what we're using in our game. And then Jeff Spakes, the guy in charge of the Sidewinder, he's like, hey, I like that. We're thinking about revamping it for the new D20 modern rules. And from that character sheet, it went on to one fifth part of their company, and doing all kinds of stuff. We won an ENnie back in like 2000 something. It's just so long ago, I don't remember now, but
That's pretty cool. That's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. So
Nice.
yeah.
Very nice. Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you would like to try out, or as far as a concept or a setting, or what do you have anything in the back of your mind that you're like, at someday I'm gonna do this?
Let me think. I was just actually thinking about this the other day. Yeah, I'd like to do like a street level like superhero type game, like something like, because I've been watching the Daredevil stuff on Netflix
All
and
right.
the
Yeah.
Jessica Jones stuff, something like gritty like that, like some kind of design or something like that to portray something like that, like the not the Avengers type stuff, you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
the
Yeah. No,
down
like
and dirty
Jessica
stuff.
Jones, Luke
Yeah,
Cage. Yeah, those are
yeah,
great shows. I love those shows.
yeah.
They're fantastic.
I would
Yeah.
love to run a game like that, and come up with
Trying
something, a
to
look.
I'm trying to imagine visually what they might have in common. I mean, as far as
Yeah,
like their sort of poster art and things like that.
yeah, yeah,
With Jessica Jones, you had a very heavy purple theme, because
yeah,
of the Purple Man and whatnot.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. But yeah, something like that would be cool. I did what is it? MHI, Monster Hunter International. I
Nice.
worked on a character sheet for that, and I don't know if I have it anywhere. It's on my Google Plus page. I don't have it around here right now, but I did a design for that, and I still haven't played the damn game. I'm still trying to get around to it. You know.
That's funny.
ETU came about, so and it struck my fancy, and I was like, oh man. there goes a year and a half or something. You know, playing this because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these distractions. I mean, Ron always joked about ooh shiny syndrome.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Ever since I started doing the SBN news, I'm just like, this is killing me. I can't. There's way too many products and settings that are so cool that I have no time to play.
Yeah,
and yet I keep spending money on them regardless.
Exactly.
So it's like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Here's another cool thing I did for ETU. I like to use. I started this in War of the Dead. Remember that zombie game?
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. I ran that, and I like to use actor photos or people photos, just people I find online or something like that. And I say, okay, you're talking to Bob Smith. This is what he looks like, and I show him a picture. I find it's helpful for me, and it's helpful for them as they get in the mood and they look at the guy and they're like, oh, he looks like scumbag or something like that. I'm like, there you go. Right. So I made these
Eric Roberts in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I made these cards up for NPCs, and I assume NPCs for my ETU game.
Nice.
And on the front it's just a picture. I made them look like trading cards from the old days, and
that looks fantastic. Yeah.
I put information on the back of them.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's just all kinds of Chaz Bowman. Of course, it's him.
That's excellent.
So, and these I use in the game. I just throw them down. I'm like, you're talking to such and such, and
this is
this is him. And during the game, there'll be like 10 or 20 of these cards out there, but they know who they are. They just by glancing at him and stuff. And they're like, what does he look like again? What is that guy?
Do they ever go I talked to Bill Cosby instead of like
Oh, you saw him in there? Yeah. That was that was before the scandal. So
right. I'm gonna tell him. No.
Yeah. I actually had to role play that this weekend, last weekend, or 2 weekends ago.
Wait, let me hear your Bill Cosby. Can you do it?
No,
you don't have to.
No, I can't.
That's fine. That's cool. Yeah. I don't know if I could do it either. So.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
But that's what makes it more fun, right? When it's really awful and everybody's just like, "What? Who is that?" And you're like, "That's Bill Cosby." Like that's exactly like Bill Cosby.
Yeah, that's not Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man.
So I got we have another question here from James August Walls.
Oh, okay.
This is a YouTube channel, and he's a big fan of ETU, big fan of Accursed as well, among other settings. And he asks, Karl! Exclamation point. Very enthusiastic. What about ETU inspires you to run 2 separate campaigns with the same setting?
I really dug the setting from day one. Actually, I dug 12 to Midnight stuff from the day one. I was getting their stuff way back in the day, and we tried to run a campaign off of their old stuff a long time, and it just kind of fizzled out, and mainly because of player problems and things like that, not because of the game or anything like that. But I had always I like horror in general, and this whole goes to college horror stuff / Buffy, is it just really, I really dug it. I really dug it from day one. And when I saw they were doing a Kickstarter, I was like, bam, I'm there. I'm getting that stuff. And I know you can't tell by my accent, but I was raised in Central Florida, which is very southern. It's not like South Florida down here.
No. The further north you go in Florida, the further south you are, and the further south you go in Florida, the further north you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I grew up in South Florida, as you know, so I know exactly how that is.
Yeah, and so the whole setting with East Texas, I'm like, wow, that speaks to me, man.
Yeah.
I can relate to all that country stuff, and but yeah, it just I really dig the horror and the whole thing with them going to school. And I also like how it was set up. How it's set up where, there's a beginning, middle, and end that's like in the plot point. Yeah. You start out as freshmen and the game is going to end when you're seniors.
Right.
That is super cool to me.
Going through semester by semester,
year
by year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not so ambiguous like a lot of campaigns or storylines, like the Ghostbuster game. To go back that, because that was the one I ran right before the ETU.
Right.
I kind of had a beginning, middle, and end, but it kind of meandered in the middle, and I really didn't have a focus, which was my fault because I didn't write anything. I was just going off what the players were doing, and there was times where I was like, okay, we need to get back on track, or this is going to just last forever. There's no structure to it. I didn't have that much structure, but that's what I liked about ETU. So
well, and I think that's one of the good things about plot point campaigns as a whole.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly.
It's like minimal prep, but with structure, and you can go off the rails a little bit and then come back.
Right. Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Yeah. So, cool. Are there is there anything that you worked on that you're like, man, this didn't come out as good as I wanted, or and any projects where you were just sort of disappointed with the final product?
Yeah, actually, let's see. Actually, game wise, a few Deadlands games kind of fizzled out, and I wish it would have went better because I'm such a fan of Deadlands, and I don't know if it was because of me running it, the way I was running it, or some of the players, or what. But I've tried to start Deadlands, I don't know how many times, 2-3 times, and they just all kind of just kind of lay there. And I really want to start a Deadlands game up again, just so I can have the opportunity to kick it off right, because I think I can do a better job now.
Have you done any props for Deadlands?
Nothing besides just like maps and some like wagons and things like that, which trains and stuff like that. No 3D trains or anything like that, but nothing really to this extent that I've been doing for all these other games. I was mainly making
that's probably why it fizzled then, man.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna say it.
I wasn't into it.
Yeah, they're probably like, what is Karl doing, man? Like, what happened to all the cool stuff that he usually does?
Why isn't he like whittling guns and stuff? Right. Bringing us to the table.
God, this is BS. I'm out.
Where's your prop, 6-shooter and your costume?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Awesome.
Oh man.
Very cool. So, do you have anything else that you want to?
I don't think so. Oh, I made this for one of the league games. It was a Hellraiser Cube, and all that is a wooden block. That's all it is.
I remember when you showed that online. I was just like, that was amazing. Actually, I think I said I'm going to try that, and I never did.
It's super easy. Super easy. I mean, it's just a spray painted wooden block, and you just cut out the pieces. And I colored the pieces, but the actual designs of the.
Well, so what was the game that you ran for that?
This was a league in 1990s. I had a Hellraiser theme tied into the vampires. He was trying to bring.
Oh right, okay.
The vampires back and stuff like that.
Nice. So you actually put that on the table, and the players.
Right.
Like, oh.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about this game, it was I ran it like I think 5 times that year, 4 or 5 times, and I made 4 or 5 boxes, and I took them to the game, and I put it in the table, and I said, okay, well, who grabs the box, during the scene or whatever?
Right.
And they said the person was like, oh, I want to grab the box. So I was like, well, here you go. Grab it. So he had the box, and a couple times the box was changing hands in the game, and at the end of the game I just gave that thing to whoever ended up with the the box in the game. So that was pretty cool.
Really cool.
As misdirected Mark guys, Chris and everybody, they call the artifacts after the game, this is a reminder of that game, so
yeah, absolutely.
That's what I like all this stuff too.
A literal takeaway, like
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I got another question here from Eric Lamoureux.
Okay.
And his question is, what props would you make for a DL game, for a Deadlands game?
Oh my gosh, what props would I make for a Deadlands game? I would like to. Let's see. I have bullets, so I have empty shell casings from my zombie game, so that definitely would find its way for something, maybe PowerPoints, because they do use the poker chips in those for bennies.
Right.
So
right. The fate chips, yeah.
Right. I would make a lot of minis is one thing, because there's so many more minis out there, and especially the Reaper Bones lines have so many cheaper minis, which I actually have been buying some of those Western ones. So
Nice.
definitely minis. There was a toy train I wanted to at one point buy, like a locomotive, a steam train, as size for the minis. So I would probably get one of those and probably paint it up to look like it's older,
Yeah.
and I would definitely use that for like a train scene or something like that. There's definitely toy guns. I would at Halloween stores that I've seen. I actually have a toy shotgun over there.
Right. Right.
I would probably bring to the game and just sit on the table, and maybe someone would have a shotgun and they could use it as a prop.
You
or
need to
something
do
like that.
like wanted posters for character sheets. Or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah, totally.
See this brainstorming session right here.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Definitely.
I could
definitely
oh,
see
go ahead.
that.
No, you're gonna say?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I could definitely see that. Just one
Yeah.
poster. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so Chris Ferry has a question for us, and
Yeah.
his question is: well, first of all, tremendous compliment. You're a tremendous inspiration for the GMing I do. I love making stuff for my games the same way. My question is: have you ever ran a one-shot game that your players liked so much it turned into a campaign? My next brainstorm: Tron. Any suggestions?
Oh, Tron. That's awesome. That would be cool. Tron. Have I ever ran a one shot that the players? Yeah, the Ghostbusters is a prime example of that.
Mhm.
I ran a one shot of that, and I don't know if they liked it or I liked it so much, but we all kind of dug it, I think, and that made it to the table for like a year and a half or something like that. Um, that was a fun campaign. That started as a one shot. Let's see. I actually did a Men in Black game too. I remember that now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, a Men in Black game a long time ago. At Gen Con, and that actually made it to the table too. We ran a few sessions of that, nothing really long, but yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Let's see. What was the second question? Or second part? I forget what he said.
Oh, he said, my next brainstorm, Tron. Any suggestions?
Oh, yeah, Tron.
I know this is low-hanging fruit, but there's a deck of playing cards called the Grid.
Yes.
Those are I bought those specifically with the intent to run a Tron game, but I just haven't even gotten to the actual game mechanics.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just want to use the cards. I don't know how or when or
Yeah. I was actually thinking about those cards because I do remember those cards. I think a buddy of mine bought those.
Yeah.
But I would definitely maybe take a Frisbee and try to color it like the way they have them.
All right.
I would get like a Frisbee and color them the different colors, maybe blue and red and stuff like that, just as something.
Do an LED light, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Let's see. God, I've only seen. I'm bad. I've only seen the original Tron. I haven't seen any of the remakes or the continuations. Yeah, I haven't seen any of
Legacy.
those.
Visually was great. Story-wise,
yeah.
I think it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
lie. I would. Oh, this is a good idea for Benny's. Maybe game tokens. You can buy arcade tokens. I use those in my '80s game, kind of a throwback to the '80s.
Right.
That's an idea.
Flynn's Arcade. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can actually find some of those, but just game tokens would be cool as Benny's.
Just go to any arcade, spend $1, $2, $10 on tokens. Yeah. Walk out.
Yeah. Exactly. We're done.
We're done. Yeah. They're not going to care. They got money.
Yeah, game tokens would be cool for Benny's.
But what would be really cool is if you can get game tokens that say Flynn's Arcade.
Yes, exactly.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. I'm sure they do exist, but how much are they a piece?
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so we got some more questions here from our audience, our lovely audience. So this one comes from Charles White.
Okay.
And he says, this is Charles White of Fabled Environments. He's running the Olympus Kickstarter right now, which I can't wait.
I know, that looks really cool. They make some great maps too.
Oh, they do. I just used the church one on my Friday zombie game.
Oh, really?
And it was
Oh, that's funny. I used the same one in my zombie game too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And one of my players almost got eaten. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then, the adventure deck saved him.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so Karl is like a walking Pinterest board for gamers. Oh, this is a compliment. I'm sorry. Yeah, Karl is like a walking Pinterest board for gamers. Great stuff.
Oh,
so
thanks.
Charles, he is for hire. So
Yeah. They make some great maps over there.
they do.
I've used them in the past, and they're really cool.
So
To
here's a
get those.
question: what would you
Yeah,
do for Olympus Inc?
Olympus Inc. Let me think.
You got the whole corporate thing going.
Yeah,
Maybe,
definitely.
maybe some ID badges or something. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely like swipe badges or something.
Right.
If you can get some, I don't know if they sell them in the stores, like some credit cards, some like blank credit card type looking things, like swipe, and I would make like a fake front so you can just spray glue it, on there.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it'd be like a front that from whatever corporation they're working for,
Oh,
or
did you see the
something
he
like that.
posted the logos for the different companies?
Oh, did
Some
he?
sample
Oh,
logos.
see, you can use those. That'd be awesome.
It's true. You could.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
awesome.
hear that, Charles? You hear that? Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's a really cool setting that I'd
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like to
It's
explore a little bit more.
again too many games,
I
too little
know,
time.
right?
So all right. So we got another one here from Eric
Yeah,
Amaro. Carl, any tips for making that stuff on the cheap? That's a good
yeah,
question, actually. I guess
yeah,
I'd like to add a sort of a prefix to that. Is it
yeah.
expensive? If it is, any tips on doing it on the
Um,
cheap?
Actually, the stuff I make isn't that expensive. Like for instance, the Hellraiser Cube.
Hmm.
This wooden block I got it at Michael's for like $4.
It's just a
That's
solid or hollow wooden block.
it's a
Yeah.
solid wooden block. It's like go to the craft store, Michael's, Joann's. They're pretty similar.
Hmm.
Uh,
What's
and
Hobby Lobby? Is that another one?
Hobby Lobby's
Yeah.
another one where they sell almost the exact similar
Yeah.
same stuff. But yeah, this was like a $3-4 wood block with some black spray paint, and this was just printed out on paper.
Nice.
I use like 3M spray adhesive, and it sticks there. And this has been on for years, and it's not going to come off. And
Right.
so this was like super cheap. These book boxes that I made, these were super cheap. I've actually bought them on clearance,
Nice.
and they were like a couple bucks a piece or something like that.
How did you do the
You know?
label on that? Is that it's like a raised label? Was that?
Yeah, it's actually a piece of wood that I
Mhm.
found again at Michael's, and I just sized it up, and I made this label in Photoshop, cut it out on paper, spray glued it there, and hot glued the wood there. So it's kind of, a little raised to just, and this is just the box itself. I mean, I didn't do anything
Right.
to that. So
Right. Yeah.
um,
No, I've seen those boxes at Michael's,
yeah,
and they look great as is.
right,
You
right.
just, for a pulp game or a horror game or
Exactly.
whatever,
Exactly.
they're perfect. They're absolutely
And
perfect.
this guy was just duct tape, like I said, and paper towel. I mean, and some, the paint is actually just cheap craft paint from Michael's.
Right. Right.
Just the white, the acrylic based paints that you can buy there in the
Mhm.
tubes or the bottles. That's all it is. I mean, it's super. I try to go as cheap as I can on this stuff.
So it's really more the investment in time than
Exactly.
in money, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Or a talent as well, because if you don't have the talent, you're gonna have to pay somebody to do it. And,
Well, yeah. And like I said,
Yeah.
I scour the internet and stuff and look for things that are gameable, and like these trucks. I bought these trucks for super cheap. I think they were mail trucks.
Yeah.
And I put this was for my 70s game. It was JD Hog Butcher Shop on it,
Nice.
Hazard County, Georgia. I made little labels and I just sized it up and
And just
sprayed on there.
yeah.
And that's it. Done.
And then for the zombie game, you need to do a hostess truck.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So so I want to ask a little bit about like the Streets of Bedlam one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that was so cool. I mean, the idea of taking that visual impression from like Sin City and from Streets of Bedlam as well. I wish, man, I don't know if you saw the Hangout on Air with that we did. It was the first one the second one that we did. It was with I'm drawing. Why am I
Jason
drawing a
Blair? Jason Blair?
No. The
Oh,
artist.
the artist, Sean.
Sean Gaston. Jeez.
Gaston,
Sorry, Sean.
yeah.
Sorry, Sean. I love your work.
Yeah.
Clockworks. Streets of Bedlam.
That's right, Clockworks.
Yeah, and so the artwork he did, I love the style.
Yes.
So you saw that and you're like, I need to bring this to the table. I'm assuming.
Right.
So
Yeah,
tell
exactly.
me a little bit about that sort of approach and thought process and the approach and.
Streets of Bedlam caught my eye because I'm a huge Frank Miller Sin City fan. I have all the graphic novels. I have some of the original comics when they came out. And so when he announced he was bringing this out, I actually missed. I think it was Kickstarter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I actually missed it, but I was kicking myself in the butt for that. But I eventually got it, and I'm like, oh man, this art is amazing. It's all black and white. I love it. I see what he's trying to do, mimic the Sin City whole look and everything like that. And
the splash of red on the covers.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you look at some of the Frank Miller's comics, it does the same thing. It's all black and white. It's not grayscale, but it's just black and white. And he'll throw in a color here and there, like red or yellow or blue or something like that.
Yeah, that yellow bastard. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I've actually seen people do grayscale miniatures before. I'm like, whoa, that would be awesome.
Oh, so you have seen it before?
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, oh yeah, people done monochromatic grayscale stuff like that. Again, like I said, I steal stuff left and right, and I make it my own. That's art. You just grab stuff and make it your own.
Everything's a remix.
It is actually, yeah. And so I saw people do this. I'm like, wow, that'd be pretty cool to make, a whole series of just miniatures like that. And I have some pictures on my G Plus page of these guys, and I'd hold some up, and I don't think you can really see them. But yeah, it all came from the art that Sean did and the stuff that Frank Miller did, and it just would have that look because that setting is just very down and dirty and just there's no black and white really in those settings to me. It's just all, you're doing things because you have to.
It's just all black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
The white is just to remind you that there is good out there at some point.
Exactly.
And you're not it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping after ETU, because I have one group that are just approaching senior level, and the other ones I think are still juniors. So after that, maybe I could hit Streets of Bedlam and some of these other settings I want to hit. So
fantastic.
Free super stuff. Love that stuff.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of character sheet design are you thinking for that?
Oh, I actually did one. You can actually see it on their site. Yeah, it's actually on their site. Jason Blair saw it on G Plus because I tagged him on it. I said, "Hey, I made this character sheet," and it actually looks like a Sin City look. I actually used a Sin City font. I made.
I remember that. That was you. You did.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. That was
wow. That was really cool.
But if you go on their Streets of Bedlam site, you can see it. He goes, "Hey, can I post this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, that's why I made this stuff, I'm just so everybody else can use it or whatever,
That's fantastic.
But yeah,
let me pull it up. I can do a screen share.
Can you? Okay.
So let me see if I can pull up. I could open up a browser window here. Let's see.
But I made bullet holes for like the agility scores where you shade them in. I made bullet holes in there.
Nice. So are you able to see that now?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see the window. Yeah, I really dig that setting. I just wanted time to.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull up that character sheet real quick.
Yeah, I think it's in a download section. And last I saw, where is it? There it is. Oh. Right there. Yeah, I mean the boxes like comic book boxes type things.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Man, you nailed it, man.
Yeah, thanks. Again, that was fun doing. I just really enjoy. Doing that stuff, and again, I look at stuff and I steal from stuff. Obviously, that's Frank Miller, but a lot of sheets that I do, I look at Cheyenne Wright's sheets and I kind of get his layout and do my own spin to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, Cheyenne Wright. He's
it's amazing. Amazing.
He's done so many cool sheets.
Yeah,
and, I wish I could just pay him to do like my fan, character sheets for my fan settings and stuff.
Yeah.
I have an Ebron game, and I'm like, I wish I could convince him to do an Ebron character sheet. Yeah, that looks.
Oh, yeah, thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's on streetsofbedlam.com. So you can
go
there and in the download section and find it there.
See, this is kind of stuff when I do this stuff, it just pumps me up to want to run the game. And I notice when I do stuff like this, I don't get GM burnout or anything like that. I just I immerse myself into this stuff. Like when I was doing like
It's like your own inspiration.
exactly, and also music. I listen to a lot of music.
Yes, yeah.
A
We should
lot
talk
of
about
music.
that sometime. By the way,
Yeah,
That's-
yeah,
well, Ron and I talked about that when we did the setting the mood. Was
right,
creating
right.
playlists
Yep,
that are suitable for your setting,
yep.
and not just doing one big playlist that you just play during
Hmm.
the session, but maybe even doing it for certain types of encounters and scenes.
Yes, yeah,
Certain fit the mood.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's it
yeah.
makes such a difference.
It does. I play music during my games, and even when I create the stuff, I'm listening to like when I'm doing the Ghostbusters, I'm listening to Ghostbusters soundtrack,
Right.
or I'm listening to music from that era, especially the '80s. I was listening to all kinds of '80s stuff. '70s, I was listening to Jerry Reed. I was listening to
Nice.
just everything like Southern rock that came out in that era. Just
Yeah.
you name it, I was listening to it.
No, I
So,
do that with so when I used to prep for my Eberron game, it was
yeah,
a lot of Alan Silvestri, Jerry
right,
Goldsmith, The
yeah,
Mummy, The 13th
yeah,
Warrior,
yeah.
Mummy Returns, Van
That's some
Helsing
good stuff.
soundtrack,
Yeah,
all those,
yeah.
and then with the zombie game, I'm listening to Book of Eli.
Oh, that's great.
What else? There was another one that I did. Oh, The Road,
Mm,
and
yeah,
so many others like
yeah,
that I've thrown in.
yeah,
So yeah, it's music really. I think it really does evoke very specific feelings and moods.
yeah. It definitely
Like,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I can't bring to the convention games because the halls are so loud.
Oh,
But
yeah. There's no way.
that's why I try to
Yeah.
overwhelm with visual stuff and just bring the cool character sheets, a
Right.
10 card miniatures, maps. All
I
that
gotta
stuff,
imagine
yeah.
that people at the convention games. I'm sure your players and your fellow players are like, oh yeah, more cool stuff from Karl. Whatever. Why don't you impress us, Karl? But I can imagine at the the conventions, these people are probably like, holy cow, this is an
Yeah.
incredible game.
Yeah, it's fun.
What you need to do, okay, do that portfolio idea that we talked about
Yeah.
before. And
Yeah.
in your convention descriptions, put a short URL
Oh, there you go.
to that.
To
so
that.
and by the way, this is what you might be seeing.
Right, right.
Something
Yeah.
to this effect, and then
That's a good idea.
you can get people to sign up, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do it.
That's
Or even do an album of the work that you did for that game.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I'm just gonna market your stuff, man.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, I need a marketing guy.
There you go.
Uh,
We'll do it. We'll take care of it.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that every once in a while from my players at home when I don't have a map or something like that. I'm like, sorry, I don't have a map for this. Or they're like, what? Really?
They just flip the table and walk away.
Yeah, you suck, man.
Guys, this is what I signed up for.
Yeah, they tease me every once in a while
Right.
because I tend to overdo it sometimes. But
Nice.
yeah,
All right. Well, we did hit the end of the hour, and we don't have
Okay.
any other questions in the queue.
awesome.
Do you have any other things that you want to talk about as far as like upcoming things that you're
Um,
working on, or anything to that effect?
Well, I'm just working on the 2 games for Gen Con, the Goonies meets Ghostbusters and the Mystery Man game. I'm doubling up this year. I'm doing 2 games, and I'm running a little bit more. I'm running an extra session, so it's going to be like I think 3 sessions each. So
Right.
I'm running about 6 games there. But
Do you remember when Pinnacle did the April Fool's joke about the Savage World Scooby Doo?
yes, I thought it was. I'm like, man, this would be awesome.
I've been waiting for you to just take that and run with it. By the way,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
actually was mentioning that to me the other day on one of the forums or something. They said,
Right.
"Oh, Scooby Doo would be awesome." Like, yeah, it would be awesome. It would be
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's been
needs-
done. I
Oh,
know it's
yeah.
been done.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it done before, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Yeah,
Uh,
that
cool.
and Gilligan's Islands. I've seen that done before too. That's
oh, that'd be cool.
that'd be fun.
Do coconut props or something. Yeah.
There you go.
Everything was coconuts.
Exactly. Coconut radios. Everything.
We need a battery. Coconut.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Karl, so
Oh,
much.
thanks for
doing
having me,
this.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm a fan.
Thanks, man.
This literally was, geeking out partially worship, but whatever, we'll just call it what it is. But this is fun.
Thanks,
This
man.
is really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing all this cool stuff that you do in the future. And
Cool, man.
yeah,
Yeah, well, you
absolutely.
guys are doing a great job. I really love the
Oh, thank
podcast,
you.
the video feeds. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah. We're always open to feedback. So
Yeah, good
that's
stuff.
cool.
Keep it up.
Thanks. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us. And until next time, keep it fast, furious, and fun.